So I have an urgent warning for all of us Palantir investors here, and I gotta be honest and upfront. Do not trust the bulls or the bears in this particular scenario. Because if you do, you are setting yourself up for failure, and I don't want you to do that at all. So let's discuss the truth about the bulls and the bears, and let's talk about that huge warning that you have to understand, and let's talk about, is Palantir stock a buy or not at these levels? So let's do all that today, right after you gently tap that like button and consider subscribing too. It's super easy to do if you like the truth without the hype. Guys, we'll get to the warning here in just a second, but nobody is to be trusted in regards to this stock, neither the bulls nor the bears. The bears have repeatedly been proven wrong over the long run in regards to this stock. I mean, we had everything from it's only a $5 stock and it's never going to get up over 10, which obviously, as we all know, that clearly is not true. And then we have other things like they just can't grow the commercial business. It's never going to come. It's always going to be a government contracting business, which of course has turned out to be completely false. But now they complain that the government contracts aren't keeping up with the commercial contracts some months or some quarters. So which is it, bears? I mean, is it the one, they're not growing the, government side, or two, they're not growing the commercial side? I mean, you can't have it both ways, but that's exactly what the bears do. I mean, it's honestly laughable stuff. Just like all the bears said, Palantir is never going to be profitable. And guess what? They were actually profitable 2 years early, which rarely happens in regards to stocks on Wall Street. I mean, when Palantir was at $6, the bears were out there saying, don't buy, don't do it, run away. 4 is inevitable, guys. You just wait. It's going to hit that 5, then it's going to hit that 4, which of course we will gobbling up all the shares possible here on this channel and in my group in the $6 and $7 range because, oh my gosh, really? I mean, you want to keep giving me those discounts? We're happy to take them. But if you listen to the bears, you missed out on buying Palantir in the 6s and the 7s and the 8s and the 10s and the 12s. Basically, you're in a terrible spot right now if you're a long-term believer in Palantir and you didn't buy at those levels. But you wouldn't have missed it at all and would have been buying in the 6s and 7s all day long if you were a member of our group, which is on sale right now, and that sale ends tomorrow, guys. Which when that time comes, the price is going up forever for you to take advantage of seeing all my buy and sell alerts in real time, getting access to that stock analyzer tool completely for free to analyze stocks like Palantir, to be able to take 5 courses, to be able to see my watch list with price targets. You get access to me anytime you want. Slide into my DMs. You get access to the best 6 and 7 figure Discord out there. There's so much, guys. Just check out the pinned comment down there. Make sure you take advantage before the price goes up forever for the group. But the point is, the bears have missed out at every turn over the long run. And so if you listen to them, you are really in a lot of pain right now and you're living with a lot of regret if you wanted to own Palantir. But on the flip side, the bulls have had almost as equally a bad track record as the bears have had. I mean, in 2021, when it was going to the moon, despite the fact that it was already on Mars at almost $40 per share, the bulls were out there telling you, keep buying, it's going to the moon, guys. And then just a year later, it fell almost all the way down. Actually, it did fall into the $5 just briefly there, but basically down to the $5 or $6 mark in just under a year. Excuse me, in just over a year, if I could talk properly today. Then the bulls said that the growth rate was going to explode from the 30% that management put out there to 50% and a bunch of other numbers that were based on a lot of things. I don't know. I didn't see any actual concrete proof there that, Palantir was going to get there. And then, of course, the exact opposite happened and they couldn't even maintain the 30%, which is okay. I'm not knocking that. But the point being, the bulls were saying one thing and the exact opposite happened, which of course that put pressure on the stock price, further pushing it down and of course creating a lot of dilemma for you as an investor because now your expectation wasn't 30, then it was 50, and then now all of a sudden they're coming in well below the 30% mark and it leaves you questioning the investment itself. Then it was don't buy Palantir at the lows because Alex banged the table. And guys, that was coming from the bulls. That wasn't coming from the bears. As a matter of fact, the bears barely mentioned it at all. It was something that all the bulls jumped on board and just started, talking about the most devastating, worst earnings call ever when nothing could be further from the truth. That's exactly what the bulls were talking about in regards to this stock. Then some of the bulls decided they wanted to trade Palantir for whatever reason, and whenever it ran up to almost $10, it was guaranteed to go back down to the $7 range or so. So they sold, and unfortunately, a lot of retail investors did the same exact thing, followed the bulls, sold the stock, and it went all, instead of going back down to 7, it went all the way up to 20 before, basically coming back down to where it is right now. But it's nowhere near that $7 range that was being guaranteed that the bulls were putting out there. The point is, many of the bulls have been just as wrong as the bears have in regards to this stock, and that dovetails perfectly into the warning that you have to understand as an investor in this stock. And then after that, we'll get to, is the price a buy or not? But we got to tackle this warning first. And here it is, guys. If you are listening to the bulls or the bears instead of doing your own due diligence, doing your own strategy, creating your own plan, creating price targets, basically laying out everything for yourself and doing the work yourself, you are asking for a world of hurt like I just reviewed with both the bulls and the bear. Basically, if you don't do your own due diligence and execute your strategy, you're going to lose over the long run. Neither the bulls nor the bears understand your risk tolerance. None of them understand your plan. Basically, how much money you have coming in each month. What is your goal with Palantir? Are you planning on holding it for 1 year? Are you planning on holding it for 10 years? All sort of other factors like that come into actually creating that plan and that strategy, and that's going to be different for each one of us. Many right here on YouTube change strategies 8 times in a year, and I'm not knocking them or saying it's wrong or you shouldn't do that or anything else like that, but most likely that's not right for most of you guys out there. And honestly, right here on YouTube, I've seen some folks kind of flip-flop from bull to bear and then back to bull and then back to bear. And again, I'm not hating on it and I understand why they're doing it. Heck, they're doing it probably because it gets clicks one way or the other. But that sort of flip-flop is not helpful to me as an investor long-term, trying to buy and hold long-term great stocks. Again, I'm not trying to hate. I'm just trying to let us all understand and to look at and to be objective about what's going on out there so we can make sure we're making the right decisions for ourselves. Now, I have seen many great investors that actually learned a process, learned how to actually invest, how to set up a plan, all that sort of stuff from somebody else. And then they took that plan, they took that, strategy, whatever you want to call it, and they took it and they kind of melded it and made it their own, right? Put in their own risk factors, put in their own, variables in there and kind of created a plan that was on their own. That makes perfect sense to me. And that absolutely is honestly how a lot of businesses are built. That's how a lot of great investors are built. It makes perfect sense to do that. But I don't know of any great investors ever or any wealthy individuals that I know that just basically just did whatever this person said, then did whatever that person said, which actually gets more dicey because now you're not even following one strategy. Now you're following multiple strategies with a whole ton of different factors moved into that strategy per se. And it could be a content strategy, not an actual investing strategy. And it could be an investing strategy, but I don't know, the person could be 20 years older than you or 20 years younger than you and have a different perspective, have a different flow of money coming in, have completely different goals, all those sorts of things, making that sort of stuff dangerous. And of course, when you mix in kind of, following one, then following another, then following another, that makes it infinitely more dangerous because there's no way all of those things line up, which of course leaves you in this lurch of starting and stopping and everything else that ends up happening to a lot of us as newer investors. Again, using somebody's framework to take it, make it your own and implement is how, investing and running a business and everything else kind of works. I mean, everything is kind of a derivative of something else. But simply copying somebody else's paper usually leads to disaster in the long run. All right, so let's answer the question of should you buy Palantir or not at where it's currently at? Now, if I just simply gave you a yes or no answer, I would be just like everybody else trying to make short-term predictions and market time and all that other stuff like that, and I'm not going to do that. But I am going to answer the question. I'm just going to answer it from a little bit of a different angle, a little bit of a different slant here to actually give you something valuable to take forward and not just Luke says buy, Luke says not buy. Because that to me, it's disingenuous and it's not helpful to you as an investor. So to answer this, I would simply say implement your plan and strategy. And when you do that, it will tell you what levels to buy Palantir at, what stock price to buy at. And then you don't have to worry about what anybody else says, and it's going to give you the answer to the question. So let me give you a couple of examples here to kind of illustrate. If you decide you just want to kind of do a DCA into Palantir, I just want a DCA, great. That means you're buying right now because you're buying every time, every pay period, every month, every week, whatever your schedule is, you're simply buying the allotted amount of shares you decided in your DCA during that time, which tells you the answer to the question every single time that, yes, you're buying Palantir this week or whatever your schedule is. So that right there is an easy way and an easy strategy to implement and an easy way to plan so that a way you can make that decision without having to worry about what's the price, what's this chart say, what's this person saying, what's that person saying, or anything else like that. You already have all the answers. I mean, a DCA is great if you're not comfortable getting price targets and trying to do valuations and stuff like that. It eliminates the need for all that sort of stuff. And honestly, there's very few strategies out there that actually beat a DCA over the long run. I mean, and there's no crazy option plays. There's no crazy in and out of stocks, no crazy anything else like that. It is one of the most basic, fundamentals of investing that you can do. And on top of that, it's hardly beatable. It's very, very hard to beat. So there's no reason not to take advantage of just a simple DCA. If nothing else, if you aren't comfortable with these other things, or maybe you're a new investor and you're still learning how to do a lot of those other things like evaluation, whatever the case is, then okay, that makes sense to me. Go ahead and do that simple DCA. Maybe you're more comfortable with doing evaluation and setting price targets, so you do a modified DCA at that stage. So basically you have a price in mind that you feel is the price target you want to buy at, And then as the stock falls, if it continues to fall lower, in my case at least, the way I do a modified DCA is I just continue to add heavier as it gets down below that level. And then whenever it gets up above my price target to where I feel like it's no longer at a, well, in Palantir's case, I already have a full position, so it's a little bit different now. But just in a random scenario there, once it gets up above, what I feel is fair value, I basically stop my DCA for a little bit and reassess it as the stock moves forward, as they continue to perform on earnings calls and some things like that. So if for you, this right now is fair value and you're looking to build out a position, then it might very well be time to buy Palantir stock at this level. And if it continues to fall, guys, you know exactly what to do. You average down. Nobody can time the bottom. Nobody can time into the market or any of this other garbage that's out there. It's just a simple process. It just requires a little bit more work to get that price target in the first place and to get comfortable with valuations. And even if you don't want to do a DCA or a modified DCA or anything else like that, well, let's just answer this one simple question right here. Where do you see Palantir stock in regards to stock price 3 to 5 years from now? I mean, is it 30 bucks? Is it 50 bucks? Is it $100? Is it 500 like some of the bulls are putting out there? I mean, to me, answer that question first and then look at the price today and go, hey, would I be happy if I bought shares today if it meets whatever price I put out there in the future, whether that be 30, whether that be 100, whether that be 500? If you were buying today, today's price level, $15 range or so, would you be happy if that stock got up to $100 or so in 3 to 5 years? Would that give you the return you feel you need to make a good investment in Palantir? That's the way I view this, and I'm looking out long term because I don't care if it falls down to $10, 2 or 3 months from now. Great, that means I'm going to average down. But doing anything beyond that and trying to go, well, I think it's going to fall down to 10 because I just feel it's going to fall down to 10. Now you're engaging in market timing, and I don't want to do that at all. I just simply want to make sure that I have a good entry point. And if you're not comfortable DCAing or doing a modified DCA or any other strategy like that, okay, that right there is the most simplistic way I can put out there for you, at least to get a baseline in regards to how you feel about Palantir stock. And if you don't know how to do a valuation, how to set up a plan, you want a step-by-step process to do that, you want me to personally help you through that, you want a whole group of 6 to 7 figure investors helping you through that, you want to be able to use the stock analyzer tool, take the 5 courses for free, all those things like that, make sure you check out the pinned comment down there. There's a sale does end tomorrow and the price is going to go up forever, guys. And you get to keep your price as long as you stay a member. So make sure you take advantage of it right now so that way you can get everything that's included. Check out the pinned comment down there, see everything that's on the website there. You get that and more, and just see if it's the right fit or not. And if it is, make sure you take advantage. And click this video here if you want to see exactly what I'm buying in this market, and click here to see my exact plan for this market. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.